Greetings everyone. Today we continue our series of talks discussing Bhakti Yoga, the path of love. And in our previous meeting, we discussed this impossible task of finding ourselves. And today we will continue to read. You can see the following part that we will read in just a moment as a sort of disclaimer where Prabhuji is presenting what he is not. And for me, these words give a lot of food for thought and contemplation about what I or what we actually seek in life and what we seek in a spiritual master. Prabhuji writes, I am a simple intermediary who shares his experience with others. I am not a guide, teacher, instructor, educator, psychologist, enlightener, pedagogue, evangelist, rabbi, posek halacha, healer, therapist, satsangist, psychic, leader, medium, saver, or guru, but only a traveler who you can ask for directions. So as I mentioned in this disclaimer, and I want to try to go through every single definition that Prabhuji gives here, which is very significant. Prabhuji invests a lot of time writing and revising his writing. So every single word, every single definition here has a lot of meaning. And I believe for myself and for all of us, it can teach us a lot of different things. So Prabhuji begins that I am a simple intermediary who shares his experience with others. And this is something that he shared with us, I can say, throughout many, many years, that all he does is share something that revealed within him. Not more and not less. He does not try to convince anybody, including us, in anything. He doesn't try to prove existence of God or certain experience. He doesn't try to change the ways of others, to convince them, to convert them into his followers. He just shares. He just shared. And this is true for the entire time that I know Prabhuji. Even during the time that he did accept disciples, but he always said that I only share what happens within me. And I hope that this will inspire you and can be of a benefit for you. But when we come to the spiritual life, and not only in spiritual life, in life in general, we come to everything with certain set of ideas that we acquired from our past. We look for certain things, we see things in a certain way, and this is fine. This is totally okay, but the only thing we need to take into account that what we will receive, what we will see, is not necessarily something that is there. It's not something that in front of us. What we will see is the way we will see it. And when we will come into life, and when we stand in front of life, and in this case, in front of a mystic, in front of a spiritual master, in front of someone even that we can consider as an enlightened being, our preconceived ideas and our intention will define and will influence tremendously what we will be able to receive from life or from such a being. So I believe for me this part encourages us to revise our ideas, revise our expectations in order for us to, I would say, receive the maximum benefit and we will not be disappointed. And this is an important point, because we're not disappointed in general in life. Most often we're not disappointed from what life has to offer. We become very disappointed when what life offers to us contradict our preconceived ideas, so our expectations from it. So we will go one by one, and I will try to share my understanding and my experience, and wherever you are in your life in general, and if you walk on a spiritual life, and if you search for a spiritual master, I believe these ideas, to revise these ideas, to revise these expectations or this view of what you're looking for is very, very beneficial. So we will go one by one, and I will say a few words. So Prabhuji writes, I am not a guide. Why not a guide, and why it's significant for us? Because if we come with expectation that someone in life in general will guide us, and often the way we see it will guide us in a sense that will tell us, oh, this is right and this is wrong, and now turn right and now turn left. And not only that, that this will be in total harmony with our own idea, that we will be very disappointed. Because very often when we really, really want to turn right, life actually wants us to turn left, and the opposite. So Prabhuji said, I'm not a guide. I'm not the one who will tell you where to go. And also within his writings are open, really, really open, and this is intentionally for us to contemplate, to inquire, to go deep, to come to our own conclusion, to make our own mistakes, and to correct them, and to learn from them. So Prabhuji said, I will not be one who tell you where to go. I will only share my experience, and you will do with it whatever you would like to do with it. So teacher, as we all know, teacher, well, for most of us, we have a certain idea about this. It's somebody who possess certain material that he or she study for years, and if we are receptive and if the teacher is talented, he or she will be able to impart, to transfer this material from his or her mind into ours. Prabhuji said, I'm not a teacher. And why not a teacher? Because what the spiritual master, what the rishi, what the mystic has to share, this is not something that can be transmitted in this way. So if we come to Prabhuji's writings, in this case, since Prabhuji does not accept disciples for many, many years, he completely retired from public life and do not accept visitors, as you all know. So, but through the writings, if you open Prabhuji's books, and you can learn a lot from them, of course, but if you expect to be taught some doctrine, you will be disappointed, because this is not his intention. Instructor, in a very similar way, that give you certain instructions, and as I mentioned before, it's kind of similar to guide. Big problem with instruction is that we usually would like to follow instruction that we like, and we do not follow instruction that we don't like. So we have a certain problem there, because we know that in general in life, and it's not related to spiritual life in general in life, to achieve things require effort. And effort sometimes painful, uncomfortable. So by the nature of the mind that try to save us pain and suffering, we try to avoid those kind of things. But we also know that more often than not in life, the things are uncomfortable for us are very beneficial. So in the far past, there's this dynamic, and some of you might be familiar with that, with your guides or teachers, that you ask them to guide you, and then once it's become uncomfortable, you simply stop following the guidance. But you want them to continue to guide you, but you do not want to follow it, and then it's kind of a funny situation. So Prabhuji say, no, I'm not an instructor. I'm not going to instruct you in anything. Educator, in a very similar way, and it's like I mentioned before, it's related more to teacher. It's not, I will not try to change your ways. I will not try to educate you about something. I will not try to give you something even. Psychologist, and this is a big, big point. A rishi, a mystic, a spiritual master, is effulgent, is full of bliss. We see it in different scriptures, with different rishis, with different prophets, with different masters. We see the crowd that follows Lord Jesus. And by a mere touch of his clothes, people get healed. And there are every figure like this surrounded by miracles and amazing things. And in general, their presence is effulgent. They are light. They are life. They are love. They are wisdom. They are so many amazing things. And unfortunately, the very nature of that very easily become a magnet to human suffering and human problems. And we have a feeling in this magnificent present that all our life problems will be resolved. And if we join a certain organization, if we put a certain effort, and if we accept, we did such a great step, I accept you as my spiritual master, then we feel that I can bring all my baggage and put it on your doorstep. And now, because you're so happy, because you're so blissful, because you're so wise, because you're so effulgent, you will easily solve all my problems. And even if I resist, it's okay, because I'm a patient, I'm a poor thing, I'm a beggar. I came to you, I surrendered, and now you will save me from my misery. And it's a huge mistake. Huge mistake. It's a total misuse of that grace. But it's something so common, because it's so natural for us to act in this way in the presence of such a being. So Prabhuji say, I'm not a psychologist, and if you ever seek for spiritual master, do not see him like that. Because yes, he is effulgent, yes, he is wise, yes, or he or she, yes, they are like that. But it's not for this. They are not meant for that. It's like to use, in Sanatana Dharma we have this concept of adharma. It's like to use a porcelain vase, something very delicate, something very beautiful, in order to hammer the nail into the wall. You will break it, and you will be disappointed. It's not meant for that. So this is a very important thing. So Prabhuji say, I am not for that. Not psychologist. I will not solve any of your problems. Enlightener. This is another thing. Oh, so I see you as an enlightened being. Usually in life when we see somebody in Rolls Royce, it's obvious for us, he possesses Rolls Royce. If you're such a rich person, if you have money, so why don't you give it to me? So now I found someone enlightened. So it's obvious, if you possess enlightenment, you will give it to me. Why not? That's why I came. And Prabhuji say, not an enlightener. I will not, and this is an important point to understand. We spoke before that we are ocean that seek for water. So nothing in this world can give us ourselves. Prabhuji can inspire us. A mystic, a spiritual master, a prophet can inspire us, can point in some direction, but it's impossible. He cannot give us an enlightenment, because according to this definition, the enlightenment is our own realization of what is already there. So first of all, it's not something that someone needs to give to us, and second, it's impossible to give. You need to open your eyes and you need to see. A spiritual master is in this beautiful prayer, Om Anyanati Mirandasya Nyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, that the spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of wisdom, but you need to open your eyes. The master will bring the light, but you, the one who need to reveal yourself to yourself, as Prabhuji say. So not an enlightener. Pedagogue, again, it's not a doctrine, it's not some knowledge that can be imparted and we cannot be trained or tamed or educated to become what we really are. Evangelist, and this is a very important point. Evangelist, as I understand from different conversations with Prabhuji, there is a very basic thing here. You can change person's convictions. I can be atheist in this moment and I can believe in Jesus. Someone can convince me. Or I can accept Buddha and believe in Buddha, or believe in whatever else in life. Accept this or that ideology. I can be a communist, I can be Zionist, I can be so many different things in life. But it doesn't change, and often doesn't change a bit what I am. I can be the same person with different ism, or within different ism. And this is part of the problem for me personally, growing up in what many people refer to communist Russia, which is kind of a wrong definition, but within a socialism, it doesn't change you a bit. And this is part of the problem. The ideology can be amazing. Communism is an incredible ideology, but when people that are not aware of themselves, if Prabhuji say, practice it, it's become disaster. And like we all know this from historical experiences in different places in the world. So it doesn't change you. those things doesn't change you. So from the very beginning, Prabhuji never tried to convince or to convert anyone into anything. In the past, actually, many years ago, we was talking about this fact that if you will, if you can be inspired by the words of an enlightened being, of any tradition, and if you're inspired by these words, let's say if you are Christian and you will be reading Prabhuji's books, the idea you will become better Christian. You will be able to follow your path. If you love that particular path, you will be able to follow your path to more in depth, with more understanding, with more passion even. So no evangelist, Prabhuji doesn't try ever to convince or convert anybody into anything. Rabbi, the same thing. Prabhuji wrote in the past many beautiful books inspired and on Hebrew scriptures. But Prabhuji said, I'm not a rabbi. I'm not a, generally in Hebrew, rabbi is the head of people of Israel. I'm not this kind of leader. That I'm not. Posek halacha, this is a very important one. So halacha, a Jewish halacha, is a set of rules and regulations that guide Jewish life. There is a very beautiful scripture that called Shulchan Aruch, to translate it from Hebrew, it's like a made table. It's like a table filled with a wonderful offerings. And the general book is amazing because it's consists of many different volumes, and it's actually more than rules and regulations. It's more the different guidance and different occasions and even arguments about what is right and what is wrong, in a similar kind of way that Talmud is. But this is too confusing for public. So there is something that called a short Shulchan Aruch, which is actual book of rules and regulations, which adjusted from time to time, and it's adjusted by rabbis, by Jewish leaders, that not just the rabbis consider to be knowledgeable enough and pure enough in order to be able to decide the law for different times and circumstances. This is what Posek Halacha is. But Prabhuji say, no, I'm not giving you any laws. And this is something that I can say as Prabhuji's disciple for years. It's very frustrating because for years we was asking, so what is the trick? In different ways. So what is the way? How do we find ourselves? What is right? What is wrong? And Prabhuji say, no, something that is right in this moment can be completely, or for this person can be completely wrong for the other, and opposite. So I'm not Posek Halacha. I'm not someone who will give you a clear list of do's and don'ts that if you will follow, you will become enlightened. There is no such a thing, as I understand Prabhuji's view. Healer. This more related to what we spoke before in psychologist. When we come in front of this effulgent, beautiful, so attractive present, we come with a lot of pain, and we want to be healed. And we expect to be healed. And this can be a tremendous burden for someone who is on the other side. And it's not just because he doesn't want to heal us, but it's simply impossible. Most of our suffering require professionals. Certain things require medicine. Certain things require other things. And so the Rishi, he's not a healer. Yes, there are many different examples in different scriptures of people healed by prophets and different things, but this is not the point. This is not why, if we aspire to seek for one, this is not a reason to seek for a seer in order to be healed. This we can find in many other places. Therapist, exactly in the same way. He is not there to solve our problems. He is not there to offer therapy. He is not skilled in this way. This is not his profession. This is not his direction. This is not his purpose. Satsangist. Well, satsang is to sit with the truth. As the yoga become very commercialized in nowadays, unfortunately satsang become something of that sort, and I believe that's why Prabhuji put it here. The original meaning of satsang is to sit in the presence of an enlightened being, in the presence of someone who is no one, as Prabhuji wrote in the beginning, and then you sit not in the presence of somebody, not in the presence of entertainer, but you sit in the presence of the truth. And then something of that silent presence can touch the very depths of your being and transform you and inspire you. But today, most often, satsang is a big sort of gathering where someone that presented as an enlightened being gives some talk on entertainment, and it's become a sort of entertainment. So probably just say I'm not that. I'm not here to entertain you. And why it's important for us, because if we go to the satsangs, and it's become a certain subculture of us going to different satsangs of different gurus, even enlightened gurus. But if we come to the satsang to be entertained, we miss the point. So we can learn, I believe, two things from here. So psychic. Again, Rishi is not psychic. We spoke in some way that in one of the previous talks when we spoke about nevuah, this Hebrew concept of nevuah, which usually translated as prophetic ability. But the main point of nevuah is not a prophetic ability. The main point of nevuah is that you become empty and life can live through you. And I know it can be very confusing because the true psychics, and there are people with disabilities that exist, they are in a way become empty. They not enlighten, but they become empty in certain way that something of life, they become more subtle, more aware that something of life can flow through them. But Rishi is not for that. So if we come to a seer, when we come to with this intention, we will be very disappointed. He is not for that. It's as simple as that. So leader. And Prabhuji here say I'm not a leader. And I believe the reason for that is that leader is someone that we commonly, when we come to a leader, we expect him to lead us, which imply that we take responsibility for our life, for our own search, for ourselves, and we put it on a leader. And if something goes wrong, we blame the leader. And if something goes right, we feel very successful and attribute it usually to ourselves. But generally the idea is to take responsibility and put it on someone else that will lead us to our desired goal. And Prabhuji say, I'm not that. I'm not going to take responsibility for your life and lead you anywhere. I will inspire you. I can share with you something, but I will not do this kind of thing. A medium, again, more related to psychic, someone who will tell you your past and future and all those things. This is a wrong place to go. That's not that. So savior. And I feel some things in a way kind of repeat themselves, but savor is important. And it's very, very frustrating, because when we seek for the divine, there is a very common saying that for many, that we saved by Jesus, or we saved by Islam, or we saved by Buddha, or we saved. But I believe there is a big misconception there, because we can be tremendously inspired, we can be filled, but unfortunately, and we can be impacted in a tremendous, our life can be impacted in a tremendous way by following different saints and sages, but it's very, and again, this is my understanding, it is very unfortunate truth that there is no one or nothing can save you. And the reason is, there is no need to save us. We just need to become aware of it. If we were already saved, we cannot be saved. So this very expectation and this very feeling that we need to be saved can be our greatest obstacle. And we will be expecting from the seer to save us. And Prabhuji say, no, I'm not a saver. I'm not for that. You don't need saving. You need to pay attention that you don't need saving. So I'm definitely not the one who will save you. Or guru. And a guru, exactly as we spoke before, is a leader. It's kind of encompass all of this. You can put all of the previous definitions in some way in this definition of guru. And Prabhuji say, I'm not a guru. I'm not someone who will enlighten you. I will not someone who will solve your problems. I will not someone who will save you from yourself. I'm not for that. I'm not a guru. But then you said, so okay, so what you are? And then Prabhuji writes in such a beautiful way, but only a traveler whom you can ask for direction. And remember, we started this reading from Prabhuji's sentence that Prabhuji writes, my life, the story of my life is a long journey from what I believe myself to be to what I truly am. So Prabhuji said, I'm only a traveler on that journey. That's all. That's the proper use of a seer. He's a traveler, a fellow traveler. That being where you are right now, that travel this infinite path, this such an intricate, such a delicate trail, that, as we mentioned before, sharp as the edge of a knife, that you can so easily deviate from it, that it's so difficult to follow. He traveled that trail. And he is willing to share. And this is all he does. He shares from his experience. So he's but a traveler that you can ask for direction. Hope that will give us some food for thought. And until the next time, Jaya Prabhuji.